Your license is your freedom. It gets you to the doctor, the grocery store, your grandchildren. And right now, that freedom is under pressure because driving rules for seniors are changing across America, and millions of older drivers have no idea. Curious, could your state force you to retake a road test just because of your age? Could your own doctor report you to the DMV without your permission? Could you show up to renew your license and walk out without it? These are not hypothetical questions. They are happening today in states across this country. Stay right here, because what you learn next could save your license. Number one, the big picture. What is actually changing in 2026 and why? Let's start with the most important truth, because there is a lot of confusion online right now about what is actually happening. Viral posts spread rapidly in 2025 claiming that starting July 2025, seniors over 70 would face annual renewals, mandatory vision and cognitive exams nationwide, and that millions of drivers would lose their licenses if they didn't comply. That created panic. And most of it was false at the federal level. There is no single nationwide federal driving law that automatically applies to all senior drivers. Driver licensing in the United States is managed by individual states, not by the federal government. So if someone told you the federal government is taking your license at age 70, that is not accurate. But here is what is true, and this is where seniors need to pay very close attention. By 2026, many states including Alaska, Arizona, California, Florida, Illinois, Ohio, Texas, and Virginia have strengthened their regulations for senior drivers, focusing on vision, reaction time, and medical fitness. These are real enforceable changes happening right now at the state level. According to the Federal Highway Administration, nearly 48 million Americans aged 65 and older currently hold valid driver's licenses, the highest figure ever recorded. With the U.S. Census Bureau projecting that seniors will outnumber children by the mid-2030s, the U.S. faces an unprecedented demographic shift that is reshaping road safety policy. The bottom line, no federal law is taking your keys, but the state where you live very well might, if you are not prepared. The rules are different in California versus Texas versus Illinois versus Florida, and not knowing your state's specific rules is exactly how seniors get caught off guard at renewal time. Number two, California. Tougher in-person rules for drivers 70 and older. If you live in California, some of the most important rules affecting senior drivers went into effect in late 2024 and continue into 2026. California has one of the largest senior driver populations in the country, so these rules affect millions of people. Under California Vehicle Code, paragraph 2814.4, drivers age 70 and older must complete license renewal in person at a DMV office. Online or mail-in renewal is not permitted once you reach that age threshold. This is a hard rule, not a suggestion. If you try to renew online at age 73, the system will not allow it. California requires vision testing at all in-person license renewals, meaning drivers 70 and older must pass a vision test to renew. DMV staff conduct the test for free, but drivers can also choose to have an exam from an outside ophthalmologist or optometrist within 6 months of the renewal, who must complete a report of vision examination on Form DL62. Here is the part that surprises many California seniors. As of October 2024, seniors 70 and older in California no longer need to take the written knowledge test at renewal if their driving record is clean, but you still must renew in person, pass the vision exam, and update your photo. And the road test? In California, age alone does not trigger a driving test. Whether you must take a road test depends on your driving history and whether the DMV has received a report indicating possible driver impairment from law enforcement, your doctor, or a family member under California Vehicle Code, paragraph R 13802. That last point deserves a pause. Your doctor or a family member can formally report concerns about your driving to the California DMV. That report can lead to a required road test. This is not a rumor. It is written into California law. Number three, Illinois, the road test rule that changes in July 2026. Illinois is making one of the most significant and specific senior driving law changes in the country, and it takes effect July 1st, 2026. If you or someone you love drives in Illinois, this matters enormously. Under 625 ILCS 561109, a renewal applicant aged 87 and older must demonstrate the ability to safely operate a motor vehicle effective July 1st, 2026. That is the actual statute, a road test for drivers 87 and up at every renewal. But the change also benefits drivers in a specific age range. Under the updated rules, drivers aged 79 to 86 are no longer required to take a behind-the-wheel test at renewal, though they will still need a vision check and must renew in person. Previously, the road test requirement began at age 75. Illinois also requires drivers aged 81 to 86 to renew every 2 years, while those 87 and older must renew annually. Think about what that means practically for an 88-year-old in Chicago. Every single year they must go to the DMV in person, pass a vision test, and pass a behind-the-wheel road test to keep their license. Miss the appointment, fail the test, or skip the renewal, and the license expires. Without a valid license, every drive to the pharmacy or the doctor's office becomes illegal and exposes that person to traffic fines, insurance complications, and potential liability in an accident. This is not about being unfair to older drivers, it is the law, and knowing it in advance and preparing for it is the only way to protect your driving independence. Number 4, Florida. Vision tests at 80 and why missing one can cost you. Florida is home to one of the largest retiree populations in the United States, which makes the state's senior driving rules particularly important for millions of people. In Florida, drivers aged 80 and older must renew every 6 years instead of 8, and they must pass a vision test at each renewal. That rule is codified in Florida Statute Paragraph 322.18. The Florida DMV also has the authority to suspend or revoke an older driver's license for failure or refusal to submit to examination, which can include a physical examination, vision test, written driver's test, or submission of medical reports from licensed physicians. Here is something most Florida seniors do not realize. Law enforcement in Florida can flag drivers for medical review on the spot. Florida law enforcement officers can access the driver and vehicle information database through laptops in their vehicles. If an officer observing signs of medical impairment during an encounter with a driver clicks a box in that database, it sends an immediate referral to the medical review department. That means a traffic stop, even one with no ticket, could trigger a medical review of your driving fitness. If the review determines you are unsafe to drive, Florida's DMV has the authority to suspend your license without requiring a road test first. The practical warning for every Florida senior over 80, do not skip or delay your renewal. Know your vision status before you walk into the DMV, and understand that a single interaction with law enforcement could initiate a review of your license. Being prepared is far better than being surprised. Number 5, Texas. Shorter license periods and in-person requirements. In Texas, the rules for older drivers focus heavily on shorter renewal cycles and mandatory in-person renewals, which is a significant change from what many longtime Texas drivers are used to. Texas issues 2-year licenses for drivers aged 85 and older, compared to 8-year licenses for those aged 79 to 84. That is a dramatic difference, going from renewing every 8 years to renewing every 2 years simply because of age. Each renewal requires an in-person visit and vision testing. The Texas Department of Public Safety also allows seniors aged 65 and older to voluntarily surrender their driver's license and apply for a state identification card without visiting a driver's license office, provided they are a U.S. citizen and hold a real ID-compliant license. That is a dignity-preserving option for seniors who decide on their own that driving is no longer right for them. In Texas, seniors must renew in person and pass a vision exam, and licenses for older drivers have shorter validity periods overall. If a Texas senior misses a renewal and drives on an expired license, they can be cited under the Texas Transportation Code for operating a motor vehicle without a valid license, which carries fines and can affect insurance coverage. The critical action item for every Texas senior driver: mark your renewal date on a calendar the moment you receive your new license. With a 2-year cycle for drivers over 85, renewals come around faster than most people expect. Missing one is not a small administrative slip, it is a legal violation. Number 6, vision standards. What you must see to keep driving. Across almost every state in the country, vision is the single most consistently tested requirement for senior drivers at renewal. And this is where many seniors are caught completely off guard, not because they ignored the test, but because they did not realize their vision had declined enough to fail it. Most states require a minimum visual acuity of 20/40, measured with or without corrective lenses, for a standard unrestricted license. That standard comes from guidelines established by the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators and is referenced in NHTSA's Model Driver Screening Program recommendations. Vision screenings typically begin between ages 64 and 70, depending on the state, and in-person renewals after a certain age allow DMV staff to conduct these screenings and verify identity directly. In California, Drivers who fail the in-person DMV vision screening must see their eye doctor and submit a completed report of vision examination on Form DL62 to renew their license. Failing the vision screen does not automatically mean you lose your license, but it does mean you cannot simply renew and walk out. You are now in a process, and that process can result in restricted or denied renewal. The practical preparation every senior should take is simple. Schedule a comprehensive eye exam with your optometrist or ophthalmologist before your license renewal date, not after you fail the DMV's vision screen. Many states publish age-specific renewal instructions explaining whether a vision test or in-person visit is required, so checking your state's DMV website well before your license expires is the single most important step you can take. If you wear glasses or contacts, make sure your prescription is current before renewal. Driving with an outdated prescription that no longer corrects your vision to the legal standard can be grounds not only for failing the DMV test, but also for increased liability in the event of an accident. Number 7, medical conditions and the DMV, when your doctor can report you. This is the section that most people do not know about, and it is one of the most important. In many states, your own doctor can report you to the DMV, which can trigger a review of your driving privileges even without your consent. The NHTSA has documented that state DMVs have the authority to suspend or revoke a driver's license for failure or refusal to submit to examination, which can include a physical examination or the submission of medical reports from licensed physicians. One of the most debated aspects of current senior driving law allows doctors, family members, or community members to report concerns about a senior's driving ability. Once flagged, the driver may be asked to undergo a medical exam or retest. Civil liberties groups worried the rule could lead to abuse, but so far, most reports have come from physicians documenting medical changes like vision loss or dementia. Conditions that commonly trigger DMV referrals include dementia, Parkinson's disease, epilepsy or seizure disorders, uncontrolled diabetes, severe heart conditions, and significant vision loss. In Virginia and Iowa, state physician reporting forms ask whether the patient is compliant with their medication regimen. If a person is not compliant, the DMV can suspend the license until compliance is demonstrated to the physician. Family members, physicians, or law enforcement can submit reports directly to their state DMV. Once flagged, the DMV reviews the case, which may lead to a medical evaluation, a new road test, or in some cases, temporary restrictions. This does not mean your doctor is your enemy. Most physicians who report driving concerns are doing so to protect their patient and the public, but it does mean that if you have a chronic medical condition that affects your cognition, vision, or coordination, you should have a direct, honest conversation with your doctor about your driving and understand what your state's reporting laws require them to do. Number 8, license restrictions. What happens when you don't fully pass? Losing your license entirely is not the only outcome when a DMV determines that a senior driver has some limitations. Across many states, the system has a middle option, the restricted license, and understanding this option can make a real difference in how seniors approach their renewal. Officials stress that the new framework does not automatically remove anyone's license. A sharp 88-year-old can continue driving unrestricted. A driver who struggles may receive a daylight-only or local area restriction instead of a total suspension. Indiana's DMV, for example, can keep a license active but add conditions such as glasses required, daylight-only driving, or restricting travel to within a set distance from home, following a review triggered by a doctor, family member, or concerned individual submitting a concern in writing. In Iowa, drivers who cannot pass the standard road test are given the option of taking the test on familiar roadways near their homes, with the understanding that if they pass, their license will be restricted to that limited area. Restrictions are not punishments. They are legal accommodations that let seniors keep driving safely and within boundaries that match their actual abilities. A daylight-only restriction means you can still get to the doctor, the grocery store, and your family's homes as long as you go during daylight hours. That is real independence, preserved. The worst outcome for many seniors is not getting a restricted license. It is failing a renewal and driving anyway on an expired or suspended license, which is a traffic violation in every state, can result in fines, and creates enormous liability if an accident occurs. A restricted license, accepted and followed, is far better than an illegal drive. Number 9, the real ID requirement, the change that affects every senior driver, regardless of age. Amid all the discussion about age-specific driving rules, there is one change that affects every single American driver, senior or not, and many people have still not acted on it. Starting May 7, 2025, A real ID-compliant license or acceptable alternative such as a passport is required for domestic air travel and accessing certain federal facilities. This requirement applies equally to drivers of all ages, not specifically to seniors. A real ID is indicated by a star in the upper corner of your driver's license or state ID. If your current license does not have that star, it is not real ID compliant, and you cannot use it to board a domestic flight or enter a federal building such as a military base or federal courthouse. Obtaining a real ID requires visiting your DMV in person with documents proving your identity, social security number, and current address. For many seniors who have not needed to visit the DMV in years, this can feel like a significant trip to plan, but it is mandatory, and the deadline has already passed. For seniors who were already due for a license renewal, the real ID requirement creates an excellent opportunity to handle both at once. When you go in for your age-required in-person renewal, bring your birth certificate or passport, your social security card, and 2 documents showing your current address such as a utility bill or bank statement. That single DMV visit can check both boxes. Number 10, what every senior driver should do right now. A clear, practical action plan. Everything covered in this video comes down to one question. What can you do today to protect your driving independence? Here is a clear, direct plan. First, find out your state's specific rules. Many states publish age-specific renewal instructions that explain whether a vision test or in-person visit is required, and checking your state DMV website well before your license expires is the most important single step you can take. Do not rely on what a neighbor told you or what you read on social media. Go directly to your state's official DMV website. Second, schedule a vision exam before your next renewal. Do not wait until the DMV test tells you that you have a problem. Know your visual acuity in advance, update your prescription if needed, and walk into renewal day fully prepared. Third, talk to your doctor honestly. If you have any condition, whether it is diabetes, a heart issue, a neurological concern, or a medication change that could affect your driving, discuss it openly. It is far better to hear a concern from your doctor in a private conversation than to be flagged through a formal DMV report. Fourth, consider an AARP or AA driver safety course. Taking a safe driving course can help maintain confidence and skills and may also qualify you for an insurance discount. Some states accept completion of an approved course as part of the renewal process. Fifth, if you live in a state with shorter renewal cycles for your age group, set a calendar reminder the moment your new license arrives. Shorter renewal periods allow states to regularly confirm that drivers continue to meet safety standards, but they only work in your favor if you stay ahead of the schedule. Your driving independence is worth protecting. The rules are real, they are manageable, and the seniors who lose their licenses are most often the ones who are simply not prepared. Here's the bottom line. The laws are changing, they vary by state, and the seniors who get caught off guard are almost always the ones who assume nothing applied to them. Do not be that person, whether you are 65 or 85, whether you live in California, Florida, Illinois, Texas, or anywhere in between. Your license is not guaranteed just because you have had it for decades. Know your state's rules, get your eyes checked, talk to your doctor, and stay ahead of your renewal date. If this video helped you understand what is actually happening with senior driving laws in 2026, please hit the like button right now. It helps more people find this information. Subscribe so you never miss a legal update that could affect your life. And drop a comment below. Does your state require a road test or vision test after a certain age? Let's help each other stay informed.